In a previous video, I showed how to set up Microsoft SQL Server 2016 and configure it and create a test table and database. In this table, we put some test data in there just to show that it was working. So now we're going to use Node-RED to push MQTT data into the database table. So to get started, you're going to want to go ahead and stop Node-RED, and then you're going to do npm install node-red-contrib Microsoft SQL MSSQL. Go ahead and hit enter and it will install the SQL node. So I've already done that, and here it is, Microsoft SQL. So you can go ahead and drag this guy in, and let's go ahead and get started a little quicker than this. Let's go ahead and copy my Node-RED flow. So you can go to flows.node-red.org and type in Microsoft SQL, and here's my example flow. We'll just go ahead and copy all this. Control C, come back over here. We're gonna do import from clipboard. There it is. Okay, go ahead and edit the Microsoft SQL node. You're going to want to set up a connection. You're going to need to do a new connection, give it a name. Since SQL Server is on this same machine, I just typed in localhost. And then I gave it the username and password. And then the database we're going to, which is dev. As you can see, this is the database name. Okay, we're going to update. And don't put the query here because it will override any other query. We want to send the query using our other nodes in the flow here. So for the very basic example, I basically dragged and dropped an inject onto the screen. Change the payload to be a string, and you can put in your SQL query. So we're going to select the first topic and payload from the MQTT data database. Let's go ahead and make sure this is deployed. All right, now let's go ahead and click the select button. And it returned a payload and put it straight to the debug window. This object is an array, which you could parse and use in Node-RED somehow. And you can see that the top record was test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's go on to the next example here. Once again, this is very simple. We're just putting the entire statement in the payload. We're going to insert the topic and payload. We're going to, the topic will be Cardinal and the payload will be Tom B. Erickson. So let's do insert. Let's go ahead and go back here and refresh this. Oops. We want to select star from. Okay, so you see that our record was inserted here. Very good. All right. Now let's go to the next one. So this update is just sending a timestamp. You could really send it anything. It's just going to trigger this function. So in the function, we're doing something a little more fancy. The timestamp from Node-RED is not recognized very well from SQL Server. So we're getting the date and we're parsing it and putting it into the proper format for a SQL Server. So then we're going to update, and then we're going to set the timestamp to this new timestamp where the ID is 1. So it's going to just update this first record where the ID is 1. So let's go ahead and hit update. And then when we refresh this guy, we see there's a nice timestamp into this first record. Okay, moving on to the next example. The payload is 2. In the function, we go ahead and get that message.payload, and then we are going to select the ID, topic, payload, and timestamp where the ID is 2. So let's go ahead and click that. So that shows how you can customize how that select statement works. And then our last example is where we actually drag an MQTT input onto the flow. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here. So you can see I'm connected to my localhost MQTT broker on this machine. This is the topic I'm subscribing to. Everything that has SQL test / and then the wildcard says anything after that. So as long as it has SQL test, it's going to come in here. This function, once again, we're making a nice date timestamp. And then in our insert statement, we're getting the topic from MQTT, the message payload from MQTT, and then our good date timestamp that we made up here, and we're going to pass it on. So in order to show this, I'm going to go ahead and bring over an MQTT test client. MQTT Spy is what I'm using. So let's go ahead and connect. So I am connecting to my local host. And let's just do this publish message here. So topic, let's see, I already forgot. What did it need to be? SQL test something. So we're going to do SQL test. Let's pretend we're putting weather data in here. Weather / temperature. And my data is, it is 82 degrees outside. 0.4. So when I publish, you'll notice something happen here. It's pretty quick. And then we go refresh over here. You can see the topic, which is the full topic, the payload, and the timestamp was inserted into the database. Let's go ahead and do a couple more weather station items. So there's wind. Wind speed is 5 miles an hour, and humidity is really bad. It's going to be 98%. Voila. We've got all our data into Microsoft SQL Server. So this is really quite awesome how this works. Like I said before, Microsoft SQL Server is free, certainly for small or home installations. If you are a business user and you need multiple CPUs and massive databases, of course you're going to want to pay for it, just like you would for MySQL. Now, how you consume this data, of course you can consume it in Node-RED, but you could also use, SQL Server reporting services or Power BI. Look for some videos on that coming in the future. Thanks, and have fun.